Jamal Mayaz here at the Bellew versus Usyk press conference, just finished off here with Eddie Hearn. Eddie, what were your thoughts on that?
Great press conference. You can't really dislike Usyk, can you? You know, sharp-witted, very cool, very confident. It's a great fight. You know, it's the first ever undisputed fight for belt unification in British boxing history. So very proud to put it on, and I believe Tony's got a great chance to upset the odds.
Now, he showed a very cold persona, Usyk did today. What do you think would be going through Bellew's mind at that point? Because he wasn't trying to antagonise him by any means, but he was giving him jibes and jabs or whatever.
Yeah, I think he probably did a good job in that respect. He's just being him. You know, I think Tony's also learned now not to just be aggressive. There's no point being aggressive because he knows how tough a fight this is. So, you know, Usyk plays mind games himself as well. He's very bright, very intelligent in and out of the ring. I think it's going to make for a great matchup. Because
Bellew's come off the back of those Hay fights that had mental warfare all the way through. You know, Bellew was pushing in the second one but couldn't get anything out of Hay. He was successful in both fights. How do you think this plays into the fight with Usyk in terms of there being very little mental warfare?
I don't think it matters. I think it's more about the fight itself. Tony knows what he's got to do in this fight. It's just a case of whether he can do it or not. It's a very, very tough fight. I don't think he wants to use too much energy, trash talking. He knows that on November 10th he's got to try and rip those belts from him.
Now, Usyk impressed a lot of people during the Super Series. He's been called a cruiserweight Lomachenko in terms of the way he fights. But do you see holes in his game which Bellew could exploit?
I think there are some unanswered questions. You know, what happens when it gets really down and dirty and rough and tough? How good is his chin? You know, how is he under pressure? I mean, Gassiev didn't seem to force the pressure like we expected him to in that fight, but maybe that was just because Usyk was too good. But I think, like I said, Tony knows what he's got to do. It's just a case of whether he can execute it on the night.
And it has been confirmed numerous times, you know, this is Tony's last fight, regardless of what has been said previously. There was the joking on stage about you and Tony's wife. But surely he stocks at an all-time high if he wins this fight. Even for you, it's got to be difficult to bite your lip. And
I think, you know, it doesn't get much bigger than this. So, you know, he's won British, Commonwealth, European, world titles. So to win the undisputed crown, where do you go from there? So no, this will be his last fight. So fans will know that on November 10th he'll put every ounce of his soul in trying to make history.
Also at the weekend, prior to the AJ versus Povetkin fight, we had Dillian Whyte and Derek Chisora face-to-face who seemed to make an agreement of that fight. Personally, how do you see that negotiation process going? Do you think they'll have that wrapped up soon?
No, I think that the agreement they made was about as much chance of happening as me playing centre forward for Manchester United. So we'll see. I think we're talking to them about trying to reach an agreement on a split. I do think the fight will happen in December, and we'll see how we get on over the next week or so.
Because the date that you've been discussing was the 22nd, which is going up against the Frampton versus Warrington card. Does that entice you even more to put on a stronger card, knowing that you'd be going up against another promoter?
In an ideal world, you wouldn't go the same night. Yeah. But when that's the only date the venues are available, and you're not particularly fearful of the numbers of another show, you do it anyway. So, you know, if it was Wilder Fury on the 22nd, we wouldn't go.
Right.
But that's the date for the O2, and we're comfortable of the numbers it will deliver.
So the fact that that card is on wouldn't change the way you format your card whatsoever?
No, yeah, I suppose you've got to make it as strong as possible, and that's what we'll do. But, you know, Warrington-Frampton's a good fight, but not a fight that's going to do big numbers. So, you know, like I said, if we were up against something that I just said we can't go on that night, then we wouldn't be going on that night. But as it happens, it's our date. We looked at the situation, felt very comfortable, and that's the date that fight would be.
We also had Lomachenko here today, which is exciting for everyone here. Are you not trying to entice him to join the Matchroom roster? No,
he's under contract to Top Rank, and, you know, if he ever comes available, we'll certainly be making offers. But, you know, for now, it's more about if Crawler can beat Dowd Jordan, he becomes his mandatory, and we go from there.
Do you think we'd have a big night in Manchester if that was the case? Do you think that fight would take place over here?
Sure, it's a big fight. You know, Lomachenko's a star. Very tough fight for Crawler, but, you know, he's been in with Linares and other people. So, but first of all, he's got to win on November 10.
Thank you so much for your time.
Cheers.
Thank you.